Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I wish to take you through something that people have not been able to understand so well, not because it's not available, but because to some extent people have no time to think about it. I'm talking about a concept, psychological concept known as stress management. Stress is simply an individual's adaptive response to a stimulus that carries excessive psychological or physical demands. So when you realize that there is a stimulus that you are working out, you are struggling with, and it has psychological or physical demands that look excessive, then it means you are stressed. You are thinking of something and you can't just get the answers to the questions that thing is raising in your head, then you are stressed. And maybe if we looked at the causes of stress, why do you get yourself in such a place? Sometimes stress can be caused positively, and sometimes it can be caused negatively. And when we talk about positive stress, it may result to an increase in energy, enthusiasm, and maybe motivation, while negative stress may raise serious consequences. The common cause of stress in our lives today is life itself. Life is stressful, and organizations that we work for. If you don't work, then you live. If you live, you are likely to be having stress. If you work somewhere, then you are stressed because of the work that you do or where you work. So, organization stress can come due to the task demands. You are given a task to perform, some letters to document, you are given some people to take care of at your workplace, or a specific section of the job, and maybe you are not able to accomplish it, or you are not able to do it on time, then you can be stressed. Sometimes organizational stresses come due to physical demands, and these ones are associated with the job setting. Where do you work? Which is the type of the office you work in? What are the temperatures? What is the design of the office? How good is it in terms of security? You might be stressed because you don't feel secure in the office you work in. And sometimes organizational stress can come due to the roles, the demands that different roles bring on board. It could be a group, it could be a position that you're working in, and maybe the position is ambiguous. You've been given a position and the roles are not well defined. So you realize that you have to work, you have to achieve, but you don't have a formula of achieving because the roles are not defined in the position you are holding. Sometimes organizational stress can come due to interpersonal demands. That is the people you work with, the relationship you have with your bosses, the relationship you have with the people you work with in terms of the colleague employees. This can bring in certain concepts of group pressure due to group dynamics, personality styles, if you are a leader, the leadership styles you use, or the personality you hold as a human being. And maybe the leadership styles, like I said, could also bring in stress. On the other hand, life stressors bring in stress on a daily basis, and this can be due to very many other problems, including death of a spouse. It could be divorce, very common today, marital separation, it could be a jail term, it could be death of close family member, it could be a personal injury or illness, it could be marriage. Marriage is stressful. It could be losing a job, it could be marital reconciliation, it could be retirement. Most retired guys have stress today, especially those who never planned for retirement. And stress can just come because of burnout. You are exhausted because of the work you are doing, because you can't satisfy your needs on time. Now, what are the consequences of stress and its management? We will start looking at the consequences of stress to an individual. As an individual, there are consequences you will face from stress, and these consequences may start like physiological symptoms, and stress brings in irritability, insomnia, lack of sleep. Some people choose to do alcohol and maybe drugs. Some people abuse food, and prolonged stress might bring in muscle twitches, skin problems to men, sometimes to ladies, baldness. The worst of it all, sexual problems, including impotence. It could be anxiety, that is excessive worry, maybe irritability, anger, nervousness, or inability to concentrate or to sleep. Sometimes feel physical changes like palpitation, chest pain, dizziness, and the worst of it all, stress can bring depression. Just feeling sad, hopeless, guilty, worthless. You lose interest in activities, in everything you liked. You change your appetite, definitely change in weight, difficulty in concentrating, and sometimes suicidal tendencies. The psychological symptoms could be stress is psychological, which can cause dissatisfaction. Maybe you are not satisfied with your job, not satisfied with what you are paid. Sometimes high levels of stress may be accompanied by anger, anxiety, depression, we talked about, nervousness, irritability, tension, and boredom. The psychological problems from stress may lead to job poor performance. It may also lead to lowered self-esteem and maybe resentment towards supervisors, towards your spouse, inability to concentrate, poor decision making. Research indicates that when people are placed in jobs that make multiple and conflicting demands, or in which there is lack of clarity as to the individual's duties, authority and responsibilities, both stress and dissatisfaction are increased. The less control people have over the pace of their work, the greater the stress and dissatisfaction. People need control over the work they do. Some evidence suggests that jobs that provide a low level of variety, significance, autonomy, feedback, and identity create stress and reduce satisfaction. Now, what about behavioral symptoms? Behavioral symptoms may indicate you are not acting your usual self. Maybe some sign of adverse reaction to stress, direct behavior, which may accompany high levels of stress, may include undereating or overeating, sleeplessness, increased smoking, drinking, drug abuse. Then sometimes nodding off during meetings or social gatherings when you really don't mean nodding, and losing your sense of humor. You can't make somebody laugh and you can't be made to laugh. Then moving in a tense and jerky way, reacting nervously or irritably to everyday sounds, absenteeism and turnover, and reduction in productivity. For the family setup, stress can cause to dysfunctional families because of such behaviors like drinking, withdrawal, sexual problems, which are so bad, sometimes abuse, spouse abuse, child abuse, alienation from the family. And this may be because in families where there is dual career, where both spouses are pursuing careers, a lot of personal commitments are needed, varied in nature. and they are demanded from both. The stress experienced by couples in such families, they stem from role overload, since both partners have to manage their careers as well as to help their families. Some stress in families can be experienced while handling personal issues, social issues, cultural dilemmas, and specifically balancing the cultural dilemmas, those social issues, with work and family. Some discharging parenting responsibilities sometimes becomes a problem. Handling competition at workplace, in families, somebody has bought land, you went to school together, you got married together, got same level jobs. They buy land, you have no land, competition comes. It might cause stress. Consequences to organizations, of course, low performance, high rate of absenteeism, and in the long run, turnover, loss of customer due to poor attitudes of workers, increased alienation of the workers from the job, and destructive, aggressive behaviors resulting to strikes, sabotage, and maybe court cases. What do you do in such a case? Avoid generalization. Each of us have different limits. Different optimum stress will need different levels of resources to handle. One person's stress may not be another person's stress. In fact, a stressed person can be a source of distress to another person. We need each other and to give everything we can give. We need to differentiate between what we can do to equip ourselves and to organize our environments in a way that we will not be stressed. We will not get stress from ourselves and maybe from the environment. We label this as prevention. We need to prevent stress. It's good to prevent stress by checking on the environment we are living in and just looking at the desirable things that we want in our environment. So that is what we call managing stress. How do you manage stress as an individual? Everybody has a different way of managing stress. You need to relax yourself. You need to manage your time well. You need to take your roles as required, including the load, avoid overload, including ambiguity. Make everything clear, your work roles clear, then avoid conflicts. Finally, but not least, people can make stress by developing and maintaining, can manage stress by developing and maintaining support groups. Come up with a group, a support group, it can help you to manage your stress. Lastly, organizational approaches to stress may include organizations vesting or investing in employees' stress management. Each organization should have a section of helping employees to manage their stress. Firms can also use institutional programs like wellness programs. Institutional efforts to manage stress should be based on organizational mechanisms, not external forces. Then, some jobs which are stressful can be rearranged, especially the scheduling can be redone to eliminate shifts that are rotating and sometimes repetitive shifts. Change shifts in a way that nobody will feel stressed. Then also, the organizational culture can help to manage stress. Culture in an organization is very important. Wellness programs are specifically created through culture, because you can create a program and if the culture does not support that program, then it will still not help. And finally, stress management programs health promotion programs, and other kinds of programs can be made as part of the organizational wellness focus. Career development programs can help to minimize stress by showing managers clearly where they are and in their careers at present and where they would like to be in future or in the near future. While developing any type of stress management program, managers need to balance the costs and the benefits. However, benefits of managing stress are more than the costs. Sometimes it's good to overlook the costs because some costs cannot be quantified, yet the benefits are good. The benefits are more. It's good to manage stress in the best way possible, starting with an individual and even the organization and even the family. The same can be applied in the family, that good programs can be organized by spouses on how to deal with their stress. And this comes through planning, good planning. You plan in advance, you organize your family, you agree this is how much we are earning, this is how much we want to spend, and this is how long we want to spend what we've earned. Then just organize yourselves with the rest of the family. Make them know the plan. If it is the husband and the wife, make the children know what you planned. Let them get into your plan. Don't overspend. Don't compete. Do what you can according to the abilities God has given you. Remember God. He created you. He has something for you. He can shape your brains. He can comfort you. He can bring you the best people to work with as groups. Those wellness groups, you can start up those groups using the people that God has given you, and they should be good people. Work with people who are focused and who can add value to you. Avoid people who always see the negative in you. If somebody cannot appreciate who you are, then the natural you, that person can cause stress in your life. And that is why you should avoid them, irrespective of who they are. Stop running with the hula baloos of daddy, mommy, church leader, and so on. Yes, they are very important. But if they will cause stress in your life, you have to avoid it. The best would be avoiding than rushing and finding yourself in such trouble. Stress can be managed, and once it's managed, we will live well. How I pray that you manage your stress. Thank you. Have a good time.